Now, here's Loveline. 1-800-LOVE-191. With Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla.
Hey, it's Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. That is Dr. Drew. Phone number 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455. Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist. And tonight, our very special guest is Diane Farr.
Yes, that name we forgot on Letterman, and you remembered it now.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I knew you were coming in tonight. Well, to be honest, and Drew, please back me up here. Whenever I think about Loveline, I really think of the radio show.
Yeah.
And there was another point, maybe right after that, where I said our stoned listeners,
right.
And then I caught myself and said viewers. But my first notion is always radio, and that's the way I always think. And it's weird when we're on a TV show and they're talking about the TV because I always think we're talking about the radio. So that's my excuse. But don't worry, I'm going to make it up to you tonight, Diane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to start right now.
Diane will make it up to you, too, when she's a massive, giant star and forgets to mention your name.
I had that notion on the plane ride over. I thought, this Diane Farr, she actually has talent, even substantial talent. She may go somewhere. I really should have kissed up, but I'm going to do that right now.
Right.
First off, I want to say that for those of you who don't know the TV show, Diane Farr is our co-hostess, or I don't want it to sound, what the hell
like
word am I looking
job.
for? Yeah, I don't know what she is the third brain out there. And as Drew knew, and as anyone who listens to the show knows, I was vehemently against a third person up there for the sake of having a third person up there. Right. I didn't deem it necessary. I didn't understand why we had to have it, and they proved me right with the first 17 chicks they put up there. But you've heard no complaints from me since Diane Farr has come on.
Not a word.
She's done a wonderful job.
Managed to complain about everything else, but not you, Diane. I want you to know that.
She is beautiful and sensible and articulate all at the same time, and people give her rave reviews. And not only for the work that she does on our show, but her many other endeavors, because when you work for MTV, you got to pay the bills. And, so that's, I guess, why she's on tonight. We're going to talk about some of her other endeavors. Now, she was on...
One of them is, we thought we'd break the news to you tonight. Diane and I are going out together and going to be doing a show of our own.
Mm-hmm.
No. Please. Please,
it's called the Let's Get Adam Carolla show. I can't believe you're on this feed, first of all. I was totally tricked into this under the guise of, it'll just be you and Drew. You can say anything you want about Adam.
Well, you still know you can, because it's going to take me at least 11 hours to get at your throat.
Well, let's make it clear. You're in New York. You just did Letterman tonight, and people who want to tune into that still can, while they keep their radio going, of course.
Well, actually, they don't have to, because at least on the West Coast, I think I'll be on after we're off.
You sound like you're flying high after that. You sound happy right now.
That's the first time you've heard it.
It's sort of a weight lifted off my shoulders. But let me just say that those of you who are listening on the day delay feed in the East Coast and in the Midwest, it's irrelevant because it was yesterday. And those of you who are on the West Coast can watch it, because you can go ahead and turn your TV set on after we go off the air, because I didn't come on until after 12 anyway, right?
Oh,
yeah. Perfect. I enjoyed hearing stuff I'd heard from you 300 times before.
Yeah, I had a good laugh at it myself.
All right. All right, Drew.
They work. I think they work particularly well when you haven't heard them, so I think you did very well.
Drew, what are you talking about? Repeating myself, please. The temerity. Let me explain what goes on on Letterman that doesn't go on when we do most of our shows.
You prepare?
David Letterman apparently is a fairly particular guy, and he has a lot of rules and regulations as to what he wants to hear and what he doesn't want to hear. And they're mostly don'ts more than do's. Don't do this, don't bring up that, don't get him in a headlock, don't snipe at him, don't do this and don't do that. And then they really want you to plan out what you're going to say before you go up there. Now,
really?
Normally, when Drew and I go out there, we sort of wing it.
We have no effing idea what the hell we're going to say when we get out there.
Well, what I mean is we get a pre-interview on just about every show we get.
Oh, that's true.
And it's usually a fairly short pre-interview, but we get a pre-interview.
Think about what our pre-interview is. It would just leave us alone, leave us alone, leave us alone. We'll take care of it. We'll figure something
Right.
out when we're out there. Just shut up. That's our
Right.
pre-interview.
Okay, but on this show, and especially because you weren't out there, Drew, and we weren't going to do our sort of Siskel and Ebert thing, they really wanted to know what I was going to talk about, so I had to sort of dig into my bag of material and work a few things out.
I kind of figured that. And actually, you looked relieved not to have me there interrupting your flow.
Well, times two if you include myself.
to tell you the truth, you know, at first I was thinking, oh, geez, I wonder what this is going to be like. I mean, I'm not going to have him there to jump in and let me catch a breath and you know, pick up the slack and bail me out of trouble and all that other good stuff. But once I got out there, it didn't bother me too much.
It looked great. It really did look great.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
now, what material? Please.
I'm going to bug you.
Come on, I even know.
I've never heard about your grandmother on the ladder. Never heard that one.
Didn't hear the cable story.
Never heard the cable story.
All right, but not on the air, was it?
On the TV show, how would I know it?
When the hell else do I talk to you except on a...
I thought I was yakking at you during the commercial or something.
I can't tell anymore. I can't tell. You're right. It might have been on the...
Well, I can be the litmus test, because if I know them,
yeah, but it might have been.
TV
It might have been when the camera was off or something. Anyway, let us get on with calls. One thing, Adam, I did the show without you last night. I did about 800 calls.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure that was an abortion of a show.
No, it wasn't. It was good.
Hey, wait a minute. When do we promote Diane's work?
Yeah, that's what I wanted
to...
Thank you, Diane.
Right,
I'm sorry you had to say it because I was about to do it before we moved on. That's what I wanted
to do.
I'm
getting used to you two now.
Okay, now, first off, you can catch her on reruns of VIP.
Oh, no,
because
really?
I've saw her more than once on VIP, pardon me. You can see her in reruns of Arliss. You can see her in, I guess it's the February issue of Bikini Magazine, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, is coincidentally is the Bikini Extravaganza issue.
The bikini issue.
Apparently, there's just chicks clad in potato sacks other than the February issue. But Diane Farr is in a beautiful string bikini, and it works. I got to tell you, it really works. It is a whole page.
Ever since you saw that page.
Did I tell you what happened? I got it the night before from the publicist. I'd never seen it, and I was like, oh, it looks nice. It looks whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. As long as Adam Carolla never gets a hold of this, I'm fine.
But think about it. He has a relationship with women on the page.
I know, and I didn't want to be one of them,
goes
you
way
know?
Back, and all of a sudden, it's like slowly he turns.
I
and
know.
you become one of the foci.
I know he can actually hear me with my own voice as opposed to like his voice speaking for them late at night at home.
Yeah, usually I have to insert that sort of Senior Wences voice.
All right.
But it's all right, it's all right. But this, I can actually take your words and string them into a sentence.
Oh, God, please don't.
All right, so, and more importantly, let's talk about the Drew Carey Show.
Yeah.
Because you're on 3 fabulous episodes coming up, and when do those air?
They start on February 10th. It's on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, and they'll be the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th. And I'm the Ho of ABC.
Three.
Yet?
No, I saw the first one, because when you shoot the second one, they run the tape of the last one. But I date all of them, which I learned how to do on Loveline. Not that I've dated either of you guys.
Imitating life, everybody.
And then she nicely got Drew and
Ryan Stiles
on the TV show.
God bless you.
Weren't they funny?
I knew that was much too good a booking for the MTV folks.
Oh, that was Diane's doing.
Yeah, that was a bit of begging. He's pretty shy.
You ready to take some calls now there, Drew?
Yes, I am. This is
all right, fire it up.
She is 17. Sarah.
Hey.
Hey.
Well, I have 2 things. One, I've been dating this guy for about 5 months now, and he lives in New York, and I live in California, so we're having a long-distance relationship, and everything was going great. I went and visited him for Christmas along with my family, but when I got back, I recently found out that he's had sex with a few other people. This is supposed to be a closed monogamous relationship.
How old is he?
He's 22.
How often do you guys see each other?
Not very often.
Once a year?
I hadn't seen him in a year and a half.
Oh, my God. It's supposed to be monogamous?
We didn't start dating, actually, say we're together for up until, 5 months ago, in, September.
Well.
Wait, did he go off to college or something?
He got out of jail.
Oh, yeah. This guy's a treat.
And how old are you, 17?
Yeah.
Marginally worse than junior college. Marginally.
Or North Hollywood High, for that matter.
Yes.
Right?
But, Sarah, look, this guy's bad news. He's going to tell you whatever he wants to tell you to get what he wants.
He didn't tell me. I found out from other people.
Yeah, but he's telling you to be monogamous because he wants you to be monogamous because that's the way he wants things.
Sarah, why are you dating an ex-con at 17? What do your parents think? Where are your parents?
My mom lives in New York. She kicked me out. My father lives near me, but I live with my grandparents because they took me in.
Why did your mom kick you out?
Because of my religion.
Which is?
Pagan and Wiccan.
Wiccan.
Mm-hmm.
What's Wiccan?
And my mother is a hardcore Catholic, and she said that she didn't want a witch living in her home.
Yeah.
And
what a coincidence, by the way, that your mother's hardcore Catholic and you decided to go the way of the Wicca.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Gee, I wonder if there wasn't just a dab of F.U. to Mom on that one.
Well, I did a lot of studying before I chose it.
But, Sarah,
the point
listen to what Adam's
is,
saying.
Here's the thing. It doesn't occur to people who aren't driven by a overzealous and crappy mother to go the Wicca way.
Right.
It just doesn't pop in your mind. You don't think about it.
The way of the Wicca is paid with F.U. to Mom.
Right.
Nor does dating the ex-con at 17
Yeah.
for that matter.
If your
In
mom,
Sarah's case.
If your mom was Wicca, you'd be born again.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem is that I've also been kind of cheating on him.
Of course.
And
This is not a relationship. Sarah, this is just a total mess. This is a big sham. This is a ridiculous notion.
But there's a second problem.
You're pregnant.
A guy I had just cheated on him with, the condom kind of came off
How long ago was this?
Saturday night.
Morning after pill.
How late?
72 hours.
So I can take it tomorrow?
Let's do the math. Sunday night. It's Monday night? Yeah, I suppose. But I would run out right now and get it if I were you.
Wait a minute. How can she can't get it over the counter?
Well,
yet,
if you live
can
in
she?
Washington State. You live in
She
Washington?
doesn't, though.
No.
Where do you live?
California.
California.
Sure, don't assume that out of the 60 markets, the caller lives in one of them.
Well, hold on now.
That's more retarded than the Wicca logic.
You can also,
And listen, Sarah, don't do any of that eye of newt crap. Go to the pharmacist and get the real thing.
You can call 1-888-NOT-TOO-LATE. 1-888-NOT-TOO-LATE. The drug company has that helpline.
How do you spell
What did I
two?
say?
Not.
I said 2-8. It's 1-888-NOT-TOO-LATE. 1-888-NOT-TOO-LATE.
Isn't that too many letters?
And yes, but
N-O-T.
it's
So you okay?
You-
Sorry, I'm like, is it 2 O's or 1 O? Because I have to squeeze in letters.
TOO late, and they will. Oh, it's number 2. Oh, that's why it's not. It's 1-888
okay.
not number
Number
2
two,
late
late.
LATE.
Hold on, you still got 8 numbers there, don't
Yeah,
you?
but
Still
the E
too
just
much.
drops off,
Yeah.
and that's easier to do.
1-888 not number 2 late LATE. And listen, they will direct you. Hold on, this is important stuff. They will direct you to a physician or pharmacy in your area whereby you can come upon this product. Okay, so call that
please
now.
don't have any kids.
That's the most important thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead there, Drew.
With another call?
So it's really not too lat, right?
I'm already burned
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
You just relax. We'll take care of you.
Alan.
Hey, how's it going?
Alan 17. What's up?
Anyway, I have more of a question, really. I'm 17. I hang out at the university and I get mistaken as a college student a lot of times.
Why are you hanging out at the university?
I always get asked this question. Basically, I just hang out there, study. There's a pool room and all that kind of stuff. It's much better than just hanging around the house, basically.
Do you live near it?
Sort of. My high school is right next to it.
You're in high school.
Yeah, so
Right.
I walk over and.
So basically, you're there looking for chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Anyway, and basically, I'm watching the impeachment hearings.
Looking for chicks. We'll give oral sex.
Ooh, it's a high school student actually watching impeachment.
Alan?
Sorry, Adam, I'm moving in.
Diane, try not to speak to the callers.
How is that my fault?
Well, here's what I've learned from this show. Understand that once they get going, they have to continue going. If you stop them, they have to run back and start at the beginning again or throw them all off. It's like a couple of drunk chicks doing double Dutch or something.
Playing
Just
piano.
stay out of the way, let them state it, and then jump in, because our radio callers are even dumber than the ones who call on the TV show.
Okay.
Go ahead, Alan.
Pure flattery.
Thanks.
Anyway, I was talking with this one girl, which I'd estimate to be around between 19 to 23, and basically got to talking and everything, and caught her name and everything, and I was wondering, I've been entertaining the thought of asking her out for, and
How old do you think she is?
what's that?
Drew, he just
19 to
estimated her
23.
age,
I'm
please.
sorry. I
I
wasn't
guess
Okay.
she's a college student. She actually joked about being the White House intern too. So yeah, I assume it at least takes a year off your after college, whatever. So again, between 19 and 23, I'm 17. Would it be, fair to ask her out and like that? And should I beware of anything? Or?
Yeah, beware of the fact that when she finds out you're in high school, she's going to be uncomfortable.
Okay.
Go ahead and ask her out if you want. What the hell? What are we
Well,
gonna
do
say?
you have your own wheels,
Wait a minute.
Alan? Or what'd you do? Put him on hold?
Yeah, go ahead. You have your
Oh,
own.
you want to get rid of him?
You have your own-
I want to know if he has a car.
God, I could borrow a car at a moment's notice, but...
Listen, I don't need you to run out and buy me a six-pack. I just want to know if she can see you pulling out in your own vehicle.
Yeah, that's possible. I can organize it well enough to do it.
You'll get like 2 to 3
The hell?
minutes
What kind of
out
an
it.
answer was that?
That means
Listen, he
doesn't.
doesn't. He doesn't have a car. I'm saying, here's the deal. She's going to be pissed off that he's only in high school once she finds out, but there are a few telltale signs to why one is in high school, and not having a car is one of them.
And not wanting to go to certain bars is the other.
Right. If he had his own ride and a fake ID, I'd say go for it. But he's going to have difficulty pulling this off. But on the other hand, what's it
you got to
hurting
lose?
asking?
Yeah.
And don't worry about narrowing down her age. Just ask her out.
All right. This is Ted. He's 28. Ted.
Drew.
Hey, Ted.
Hey, I wanted to talk about Adam's Letterman appearance.
All right. Talk.
I saw it tonight. I thought you were great, Adam.
Thank you.
At the end,
boy.
Letterman said, "Good luck with your career," or whatever. What the hell does that mean? Did you feel that was
You
flight?
want Adam to interpret it or Drew to interpret it?
I think he was just getting a jab in there because he had not had a chance to talk too much during my interview. But that's my interpretation.
That, and I think Adam described how his life had meandered through a lot of different jobs. And to talk about that overriding experience as a career was what I think he was referring back to.
But I thought that he liked you, that he thought you were funny.
Did he come out when you came out? I've seen this on tape now, Adam. Okay, and Engineer Mike, the tape was like twisted and folded, so the first 2 minutes of the interview was like garbled. Did he come out and say, "I'm a fan of you"? He said he's a fan of the show, or was that you saying you're a fan of his show?
I said that I was a fan of my own show.
No.
Letterman said it.
Because he said it to you, then he started asking questions about the show like he'd never seen it before.
No, Adam was a fan of Letterman.
Oh, is that
I
what it
said
was?
I was a fan of Letterman's show, and that was to sort of set up my kiss my ass joke.
What I was watching had closed caption. That's all I could see was the closed caption for a while, and there was no sound. So.
I hope they spelled Diane's name right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned her a lot.
Didn't he just? He's always so considerate of me.
I'm looking out for number one. Hey, listen, I can see you with a picture of me drawn on that belly of yours in Bikini Magazine.
No, it's actually on my, can I say the other word that you know I want to say?
Ass crack?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, anyway, Alan, no, he seemed to get a laugh. He seemed to enjoy me. He seemed like a nice guy, and I've heard many a tale about what he does when he doesn't enjoy people. And actually, that was one of the things that was sort of daunting about going out there. Is it's bizarre that a comedian, because a comedian's job is to sort of hang back, crack a few jokes, and have a good time. It is bizarre when someone gives you a laundry list of things not to do before you go out there.
Yeah.
And that the guy comes across, I mean, on television, he comes across as this sharp-witted, interesting, articulate guy. But when you go backstage, all you do is hear these horror stories about what not to do. So you tend to... it tends to bind you up just a little bit.
It's sobering.
Well, it's like you'd get your best performance out of me if you said, hey, just go out there and have a good time.
Yeah.
There's two different approaches, and that's why whenever someone comes on our show, we just say whatever you want, have a good time. Because if you give them a whole list of rules, you might sort of clog them with information.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Donna.
Hi.
Hey. Donna's 23.
Oh, well, first of all, Dr. Drew, I wanted to say that I really enjoyed the show last night. It was really good.
Oh, say that again, Donna. Why? Tell us why. Adam's particularly interested.
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. Maybe it had something to do with Adam not being here.
Well, let me tell you. Let me say this. Occasionally, you got to sprinkle a little salt in there just so you can taste the sugar. You know what I'm saying, Donna?
Oh, listen to this. Andy,
Yeah,
you
that
have
was
to break
last
them
night's
up.
show.
I break them up on the TV show. When the girls start squabbling here.
I had a delightful time. I felt as though I hadn't connected with the caller in years.
All right.
Well, my question is basically kind of aimed at Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
I seem to notice that when I get turned on, I get very, very wet, but I'm afraid that it's like a little more than what a normal person. I mean, I've talked to my sister about it, and she said that she doesn't get as much as that. I mean, it's almost at the verge of like almost like I pee my pants, but I know it's not my bladder.
Okay, hold on a second. Adam, we got to go to break.
Oh, boy, Drew at the helm, running a tight ship.
I'm just showing you how a radio professional really runs a radio show here.
Geez, you know, you had your opportunity the other 1,500 shows we did. I wonder why you never did it then. All right, we're going to take ourselves a break. Diane Farr, who's not only has herself a triple guest starring role in Drew Carey show, but you can also find her on the fabulous Loveline TV show as our guest tonight. We'll take a little break, and we'll be back with more Loveline after this.
All right. We're right back with Adam Carolla, ladies and gentlemen.
Loveline's phone number is 1-800-LOVE-191. Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jewel, and you're listening to Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Hey there. Cool. Yes, it is us, plus Diane Farr, our fabulous co-host on the MTV version of the show.
Again? That is,
I know, it's a really long time. And I forgot to mention, I'm doing a fabulous little film right now called Little Indiscretions.
When's it coming out?
It'll probably be ready in about a month, actually. I think it's going to the LA Film Festival. We
Wow.
wrap Wednesday.
Whoa. Diane Farr is trained. Well, she has a dual degree. We learned that from the show.
One either.
Talk about versatility. Not only a theater major, but also drama, everybody.
Sort of like carpentry and door hanging, right?
Talk about wearing a few hats. I'll tell you, I don't know where you found the time. Anyway, you can find her on the Drew Carey show coming up Wednesday on ABC. That'd be the 10th. The 17th and the 24th. No, not the same episode reran 3 times, but 3 separate episodes. She is guest starring in all of them. And I think this will be it for Diane, Drew. I mean, once
we won't see her after this.
The movie comes out, the Drew Carey show goes. I think she's being submitted for an Emmy for her work in Arliss. What?
Adam, you and I know our producers, right?
Yeah.
They'll keep her going. They'll find a way to keep her. But
not on our show, though.
Oh, yes,
what I'm saying.
They will find a way to keep her.
They'll spin her off like Mama's Family.
Oh, yeah, she'll be spun off also, but they'll find a way to keep her tightly bound to our show.
I don't know about that. All the food you can eat in a dressing room that's a little too noisy, I don't know.
They will permit her to do all these other things, but they will keep her tightly bound.
All right.
We shall see.
Anyway, the fabulously talented Diane Farr is our guest tonight, and when we left off, we're speaking to Donna.
Yeah.
Donna's 23. Hi. She gets a little moist. Donna?
Yeah. Hi.
Hey.
Well, what I'm concerned about is that, I mean, it's a little bit more than just getting a little moist. It kind of starts to become a hassle.
Can I ask you something as the girl here?
Uh-huh.
When you're saying that it's like you wet your pants, when you get up from the bed, it's like a circle the size, like you just urinated on the bed, or are you exaggerating?
No. Well, it's not like, I know it's not my bladder.
No, that's not why I'm asking the question.
But how big is the circle?
My underwear is totally soaked.
So you're not leaving a big puddle, you have soaked underwear?
No, I know, but afterwards, after sex, then it's not a puddle, but it's a big wet spot. But the thing that I find that's more of a problem, and the reason why I was asking, what I wanted to find out was if there's a way to maybe dry yourself up a little bit.
No.
But no?
But wait, let me ask you something. Okay. Why do you have it in your head that this is a bad thing?
Well, because what ends up happening is I am married. And in the middle of it, you know, when you're rolling around and everything, he'll slip out, and then he has trouble getting it back in because of the fact that it's so messy. And so then that kind of ruins it.
That's his problem.
It's his
Drew, couldn't she put like a raccoon tail up there or something to soak things up?
Well, see, I was hoping that maybe there...
Brush cleaner? Bottle cleaner?
Huh?
What?
They're just playing with you. Donna,
I was told that there was something you can eat that would be able to make it. But I'm a big woman after all. I didn't know if maybe my weight had something to do with it.
Can't you eat sawdust or something, Drew?
How much do you weigh?
Or kitty litter?
How much do I weigh?
Yeah.
A little over 300.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so I am a big woman.
Yeah, if you figure a teaspoon every 45 pounds, Drew, isn't that about right?
It's about right.
But you know what? Even regardless, I don't think the weight has anything to do with it. This is better than the other way around.
Yes,
and every chick is under the misconception that this is a bad thing because somewhere along the line you think that you have something wrong with you. This is fabulous. Yeah. This should be the worst problem you have with your husband. Yeah. And he should enjoy this.
I want to apologize, Diane, because I know you tried to ask the question of how big a spot did she leave. She went around, chased her tail for a few minutes, and then came back to the spot on the bed after she was having sex. You notice that? No one can answer a question on this show.
No. This is Chris, 20. Chris.
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, first I just want to say that, Drew, you are awesome. You are the
Oh, my God. Hey. See, Adam leaves for 20 minutes. I just take over.
Adam, you do add much flavor to the show, though. And we miss you last night.
All right, Chris. Well, be careful. He'll hang up on you. What's going on?
Okay, well, I dated the same girl for about 2.5 years, and we have a very good relationship.
Hang on a second, Chris. Adam, Max is here. Hey, Max, I'm doing the show by myself last night and coming up. Listen carefully to that. You may want to spin off a new show from Loveline. Go ahead.
Oh, please. That stoner, he doesn't.
He's standing right here.
Power over there.
Oh, the hell is. He's your distributor. Chris, what's going on?
It's Westwood 1. Come on. He'd be fired from any other job.
Well, we started going out. She was 16. I was 17. And we went out for about 2.5 years. Had a very good relationship. Very close. I was very much into her, and she was very much into me. But she recently left me for another guy. And one of the reasons that she gave is that the relationship was too routine.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah. So what do you want to know?
But the other reason was that I got to the point where, I don't know, it wasn't that I wasn't satisfied, but I had the urge to date other girls. And so I suggested having an open relationship.
All right, Chris, this relationship wasn't working through and through.
Right, on either side of it.
Yeah, it wasn't working for anybody, and that's you weren't intimate, you weren't connected, you weren't in love.
Let me give a quick tip to some of the guys who are planning on suggesting an open relationship. Find yourself somebody else with their legs open that you can have an open relationship with before you suggest the open relationship, because halfway into the open relationship speech, she will be humping a guy before you're done with your speech.
Yeah, guys have a fantasy that this will be a wonderfully adventurous thing for them, when in fact it's usually woefully
Well, I wanted to be honest with her about it.
Oh, Christ.
Well, I understand, but here's the problem, too, with guys, is they think because one chick is stupid enough to bang them, they're all going to jump on board. And what they don't realize is there's probably a good 4 to 6 months of downtime, whereas if a woman wants to be with another guy physically, especially if there's a little spite involved, a little vendetta here, she will be with a guy that afternoon if you have the open relationship conversation in the morning.
Well, that's
so, yes.
She was always, it seemed like she was so into me. And
Chris, I can't.
But the point is it's over, right?
I can't even.
I mean,
what
do you want to do about it? It's over.
It's over.
You suggested open a relationship.
Yeah.
She's with someone else.
There's like, I mean, Chris, I wonder if you're capable of intimacy. I mean, she was into you, and that was what counted. The more she was into you, the more you wanted to open a relationship, and suddenly she left, and you start baffled.
Now it's a problem. I think the biggest problem is just that she wanted to leave also, but you'll move on. You're only 20 years old.
You weren't providing her what she needed emotionally, and you've got to do that.
Well, let me translate the open relationship just one more time.
Right.
She opens her legs, you open a porn mag. Yeah. That is the open relationship, you guys. Right. So be very careful what you suggest.
Andrew is 15. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm gay, and I've been hanging out with my best friend a lot, and I've fallen in love with him. And
how long have you known you've been gay?
About a year now.
And he's a heterosexual, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Sure, he's got you beat by 6 months.
Does he know you're gay?
No.
You don't know that. And Andrew, it's understandable that people, particularly males, that you have close, intimate feelings for, would sort of develop into something more, okay, especially at your age.
Mm-hmm.
People at 14, 15, 16 often confuse friendships and sexuality and intimacy. And you're clear that you're gay, and you have a male friend that you're very close to, and it's normal to develop those sorts of feelings.
Plus, when you're 15, you get the hots for whoever's closest to you.
Yeah.
And that can be trouble even in a heterosexual relationship, but at least you have a mathematical chance. When you're gay, if the other guy's not gay, you really don't have a shot, and it just makes it that much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Andrew, choosing the wrong person here. I mean, I suspect if he's not gay, it's going to affect the relationship rather badly if you sort of make him feel intruded upon.
Right, and wouldn't it be fair to say that these feelings will probably subside and he will have them for someone else as he grows into his own sexuality?
He should, but he's got to be able to understand the boundaries, and this relationship, and it's going to be tough for him, I'm sure.
Let me give you guys my take on the gay lifestyle. It's a little.
We haven't heard it before.
It's a little bit.
Why don't you bring that up on Letterman, too?
You haven't heard this one. Oh, and by the way, I do know where I told that grandma on the ladder joke, Drew. The Terry Bradshaw show. Remember when we did that?
That's right. That's right.
That was a couple of years ago, though. Bears repeating.
Right.
It's tough to be gay when you're 14, 15, 17 years old because you're in high school and other people haven't come out, and you don't have your license and you don't have an ID to go to bars. It's tough. It's real slim pickings. I mean, to be 15 and be gay would be very difficult. But in a few years, when you're 22 and gay, the world is your oyster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a club on every corner. You go there, you do the amyl nitrate poppers. Everyone gets in a big line, and you're getting it on all night long. You have 1,000 dates every night. You know what I'm saying? It's going to pay dividends if you can stick with it. But it's going to be. You see, that was my problem. I had no discipline. I just couldn't stick it out past college.
All right, this is Laura. She's 29. Laura, what's up?
Oh, hi. This question is actually for you, Dr. Drew. It's about addiction.
Hey, excuse me a second, Laura. I was just thinking about something. Adam, I should always sit in this seat. That's why the show drags. You know what I mean? No, I don't mean drags.
It drags.
No, I mean in terms of getting from. Ann complains we don't get from call to call to call fast enough. It's because I should be sitting here.
Well, maybe if people were bigger fans of mine, the show wouldn't drag.
All right, Laura. So what's going on?
Well, this is the situation. I was using drugs for about 6 years.
Yeah.
And I've been clean for 3. But I listen to your show a lot, and I hear you always talking about how important recovery is. And I never did any formal recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've done a lot of things to change my life and to make things better, and I've tried to sort out the reasons why I used. But and I'm just wondering if there's like a period where you're safe.
What was your drug of choice?
Speed, like crystal meth.
The probability is you're still drinking. Is that safe to say?
No.
You don't use alcohol at all?
I have wine once in a while,
okay. But that's what will begin to take over, and that takes time for that to happen.
Wait a minute. After 3 years, she couldn't rest that she controlled her own.
She's controlling it now, but she's asking, what's the safe period? I've dealt with these kinds of cases a zillion times, and what happens is another seemingly less addictive drug takes over very slowly, usually either pot or alcohol. And
really?
In this kind of situation, alcohol, because you have alcohols in your family, probably, right?
Well, that's the strange thing is that I come from a large family, and a lot of us have had problems with drugs, but my parents don't drink or use anything.
Then they probably saw something going on in their parents, the grandparents.
Well, my father's parents died when he was 12, so.
Okay, well, that's where you look for the history there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, though. Let me ask you something.
You know what?
You say this.
I'll tell you, save that thought. Hold on.
No, wait a minute.
Yes.
Drew, listen, wrap this one up.
No.
This is no teaser. Please.
Go ahead,
Fly
Diane.
over there and bonk you on the head.
You
Go
say
ahead,
this
Diane.
quite often about the programs, but the biggest program going, which is AA or some version thereof, is based on Christianity.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What, it's not based on Christianity?
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on. How could you say that?
Absolutely not. It is based on a notion that allows you to have trust in some power outside of yourself so you don't focus on the need to control.
That power is Jesus
extremely
Christ.
Controlling people, and they need some concept to feel like things will be okay if they just give up that control. Now, some people, because the majority of them have religious backgrounds, will choose sort of religious context for that. But I don't care if they're talking about a coffee cup or you or a clock. Well, it shouldn't be a person, but it can be anything, but just something that gets them outside of themselves.
Well, what if somebody doesn't want to look at the... I still consider it Christianity. I mean, you could say Dianetics or L. Ron Hubbard or whatever.
You can choose some ancient god or whatever if you wanted. I mean, it has nothing to do with Judeo-Christian.
I know, but people go the Jesus route just because it's easy and they
that's
don't
what
have time to pick out a good deity.
No, they talk about God.
Oh, yes, they do.
They talk about higher power. But you try to avoid. They should make every effort to avoid specifying what a higher power is for any given individual.
But you know, when you sit around with people that are in this program, it has a cult-like following to it for the people that are the closest to it. And great if it works for you. But if somebody has a problem with that, basically what you're saying is there's no way for them to stay sober on their own.
No, I'm not. This is a complex issue. We should keep talking about it. Can I now go to break, Adam?
Well, no, wait a minute. Now, hold on a second. Would you relax over there?
We haven't even answered Laura's questions, for one thing.
All right. Drew, you don't have any data on people who do have a glass of wine after they've given up heroin. Because you have the ones that have gone off the wagon who show up in your office, but you don't have the ones who have stayed out of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
There's
you don't
one person
know
in
how
my
many
life
of those there are.
Those studies have been done 1 million times, and they always show the same thing, that if you follow the person long enough, the whole thing explodes again if they maintain a relationship with an addictive substance.
I'm saying if the person doesn't explode, you don't count it.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't count it because I don't see it, but the studies that follow the people forward, eventually they get in trouble again if you follow them long enough forward.
All right, now hold on a second. Drew, why don't you sell a new call, and then we'll go to break.
I'm not done with Laura yet.
Yes, you
are.
I'm
not done.
Jesus Christ, I leave town for, what has it been, 17 hours? And all of a sudden, there's a new rooster
we'll fight it out during
in the hen house.
In the break, all right?
Oh, boy, am I going to discipline you when I get back there tomorrow.
You have 5 seconds.
Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Aloha. This is Don Ho, and you're listening to Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. Mahalo.
You know, there's
Diane Farr.
There's so much H in Don Ho's voice. Every word is full of H's. And when he says Don Ho, it sounds like Don O.
Right.
It's all just one long.
Aloha.
Aloha. Yeah, he starts aloha with 3 H's.
And I don't think H actually exists. Oh, yes, I guess it does in the Hawaiian vocabulary.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Yeah. Hey, this is Adam Carolla. That is Dr. Drew. Our guest tonight is Diane Farr. You know her well from the MTV version of this show. You can also find her guest starring on 3 upcoming episodes of the Drew Carey Show. That'd be the 10th, the 17th, and do the math for the 3rd. Wednesday nights on ABC and Drew. Yeah. You know, it's about 10 to 2 out here in New York. And,
I know. It's so bizarre, Adam. We have done so much traveling together. I was like having an out-of-body experience, imagining I was with you tonight. I know, it's like I knew your every move, where you were staying, where you having to walk to get into that damn studio.
Yeah.
The hassle with the security guard downstairs.
Right.
Which, of course,
who are you?
Every time we have. And,
every time. It's like I'm some new terrorist taking over the building. Every time.
We've been there 100 times. Every time the same hassle. Same guy, I think, every time. And then you go up to, 14th floor or something? And 17th floor, and then there's nobody there. That glass window, you're standing there knocking and ringing. Right?
It's like clockwork.
And then go around the corner and everything.
And what time am I leaving tomorrow morning, Drew?
Let's see. This is set up our management. 6:15.
Let's play guess. Let's play Guess Adam's wake-up call. Now, keep in mind, I won't be back to the hotel. My hotel's a little further away this time, Drew. I'll not be back to the hotel until 3:30 this evening.
6:15.
5:45 wake-up call.
Yes.
And you know what the toughest part about that wake-up call is I call in for the wake-up call before I come do this because I don't want there to be confusion. I don't want to call in at 4 in the morning for a 5:45 wake-up call and confuse the poor bastard.
I might call 5 in the afternoon.
It's always right. It's always it's that extra degree of torture when I call in at 11:30 and I go, okay, 5:45, and they go, ooh, have a good night's sleep. You're just putting the phone down and collapsing. I'm thinking to myself, honey, I ain't gonna roll in for another 4 hours.
And Hitler is your travel agent.
Oh boy! And here's the other deal too, Drew. I got to be at JFK for an 8 o'clock flight.
Oh yeah.
It took me about a half hour to get from JFK to the hotel this morning, and I arrived at 6 a.m. in New York. So when I leave at 6 a.m. tomorrow, I will arrive at JFK probably around 6:30, maybe 6:35. I will then sit on my puckered anus for at least an hour and 15 minutes in that airport before even moving to get on the plane.
All right, let's finish our discussion about addiction. Diane had some interesting questions, and Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Well, where we were getting to after the break of debating, Drew's saying that 100% of the time someone will slip if they've gone into the point
There's a certain threshold that if somebody passes, and it's particularly true with more addictive drugs, there's no going back. There will always be relapse.
100% of the time, you say?
I've never seen an exception. Now, there's always exceptions in medicine, but it's one of the most predictable things I found anywhere in medicine. I mean, I have to predict and sort of prognosticate a lot. This is the most certain I've ever been about things. It's uncanny.
So then let's take a look at, you're saying that, okay, if she did speed for a while, if she's even having one glass of wine once a week, at some point she will fall into it. But then let's look at some of the AA things. You're sitting at a meeting, there's 400 people blowing through 4 cups of coffee in an hour. They're not an addict of this. They're all smoking outside. If you're supposed to be losing your issues of control, they're only doing it on certain things.
It is, I need to sort of develop for you all how the biology works, but it is a conditioning of a tiny region of the mesolimbic reward center called the nucleus accumbens. And when that gets properly conditioned in an extra physiologic way, it has drives of its own.
So nicotine's not going to do it.
Doesn't tend
Caffeine's
to
not going to
doesn't
do it.
tend to drive it.
But you believe that methadone does.
Oh, profoundly.
Oh, gosh.
Profoundly. It's just it's not a.
So what's the difference between the methadone and the nicotine? Neither one of you is sorting your brain out. You're just addicted to one because you think it helps you.
No. They have to extra physiologically stimulate that tiny region of the mesolimbic reward center. And if they don't do that extra physiologically in a threshold capacity, there's no addiction. Addiction does
Drew
not
doesn't
develop.
like methadone, by the way, Diane.
That's why I'm saying it, because there's that one call that day on the show with the girl who's saying she was clean for 4 months for the first time in her life.
You have to
and
go.
It's
very interesting. I mean, anybody that experiences people in addiction, even for has 6 or 8 months of clinical experience, there's absolutely no doubt about how this all works.
So if someone spends
Diane managed a club in New York, so I think she has more addiction experience, real-world addiction experience than you do, Drew.
Yeah, and Drew's half Jewish and I'm half Irish, so that gives me 10 times more. But it's like the methadone thing, in my opinion. It's like if somebody's brain is functioning on a normal level for the first time.
No, they're not. That's the thing.
So you're saying it's getting them high, or it's getting that thing high that you're talking about?
Yes, getting that reward center high, and it changes.
So even if their brain is functioning normally,
brain
you
is not
still think
normally.
that's bad?
It's not functioning normally. I guarantee you it's not.
So why is it normal if they're on nicotine?
It's a totally different chemistry, totally different physiology altogether. I don't think nicotine is good. I'm not defending it at all. I totally agree with you. That should go also. But the clinical reality is that people can smoke and not relapse, and the theory seems to be that the extra physiologic stimulation of this part of the brain is just not occurring.
So then what you're saying to Laura is there is no way in hell she will stay sober unless she goes to some group.
No, I'm saying there's no way in hell that she will stay abstinent if she continues a relationship with a substance that continues to activate that part of the brain pharmacologically.
Okay, so as long as
that's what you said, Diane.
I'm not saying she has to go to a program. I mean, she's done it. She's been able to kind of control it.
Hey, look, if you're going to keep at it, I'm going back to the hotel and masturbate.
One more thing is that the problem is when you take all the substances
early. I'm doing it anyway, but I'm just going to be early.
All the substances away from somebody who is used to using that as their primary coping strategy, they start having rather substantial symptoms, usually depression, anxiety, this sort of thing. And unless you replace it with something, which is typically therapy or recovery, which is, but the basis of recovery is a connected relationship, an intimate relationship with a person who's had similar experiences to you. And that's it. That's the foundation. That's the principle.
So, but in that theory, then, if somebody has that relationship with somebody in their life, they don't need the program.
They don't know if they can, absolutely. If they can.
So if Laura can cut out the alcohol and not use any of those reward things, which I guess are the things that one would imagine,
and find her way to true intimacy.
She's fine.
She should be okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I can live with that.
Adam, we're ready for you now. You asleep?
Huh?
Here's a good
What's going on
deal.
over there?
Erica, 27. What's going on?
First of all, I just want to say hi to Adam and Diane. And Dr. Drew, this question is for you. You basically just saved me talking about the morning after pill. On Saturday night, I was raped, and I did get the morning after pill today, and that really, really helped me, with everything else that I'm dealing with. It was vaginal and an anal rape.
And this was on Saturday?
Yeah.
Have you done anything other than the pill about it yet?
Have what?
Have you done anything else? Are you thinking of reporting it?
Well, I went to my therapist today and I talked to her about it.
This isn't the first time you've been raped, is it?
Yes, it is.
Never been victimized otherwise?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
And
Erica, I don't mean to seem cruel, but we have to put you on hold for a second, okay?
Okay.
Hang on a second. We will get immediately back to you. But Adam, we must go to break right now.
All right, man. We'll get to the bottom of this because there's something more here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Adam, go ahead.
Loveline on 92.1 KFMA.
Hey there, kiddies. It's Loveline. Our guest tonight is the fabulous Diane Farr from the Loveline TV show. Also from the Drew Carey Show, at least some of the time. Phone number, 1-800-LOVE-191. I believe we got to send it to our 10-second affiliate identification thing. We'll do that now. We'll be back with more Loveline in 10 seconds.
This is Loveline on radio station.
Illegal broadcasters.
92.1 KFMA, Green Valley, Tucson.
Hey there.
Drew was in the bathroom. I was trying to tell you to quick get something in before he came back.
Oh, that is so Drew.
But he's back.
I'm back.
All right, so Drew's over there in L.A., as well as Diane Farr, and me, Adam, is out here in New York. That's good grammar.
And Erica is here on the phone. She's 27. She was raped.
Yeah.
And what was the question you had about it?
I was wondering, and I'd heard just through people talking that when someone has anal sex, that it would be really bad to go straight from the vagina to the anus. Is that true?
It'd be worse the other way around.
The other way is
it?
actually, the other way is probably a little worse for you. And
okay.
Of course, did he wear a condom? Do you know?
No.
No. Did you?
Right, it's okay to go from the kitchen to the bathroom, but not from the bathroom to the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you, Adam. Did you have HIV done and that's all that business? Get some antibiotics?
I'm going to see my gynecologist this Thursday. I tried to get in sooner.
You didn't report it or go to the hospital or anything?
No, I didn't, and I know that's really...
It's what leads us to conclude that this wouldn't be the first episode of victimization you've been through.
As far as rape, no. Or, yes, this is the first, but as far as...
Was there any other sexual abuse ever?
No, not sexual abuse, but physical abuse. But as soon as my ex-boyfriend hit me one time, and that's all it took for me to walk out the door and never talk to him again.
Yeah, but this was a far worse form of abuse, and you managed to tolerate this one.
Who was this guy? You must have known him.
Yes, I've known him for a year. He was a really good friend of mine, at least I thought.
Wow.
And as far as, not reporting it, it's because I live in a small town that anytime a woman reports anything like this, the justice system rapes her, and I'm not going to go through that again.
Wait.
Again?
You can go in, did you say again?
As far as what happened Saturday night, what the police officers and the lawyers would do to me would be worse.
Well, there's a couple of things to look at. You can sit with a couple of police officers and report this, and they will honestly explain what would happen to you if you did report this. But there's a couple of things. If you say that somebody raped you, they will go and take them in for an arraignment, and you cannot go through the whole court case. You can put somebody away where you feel safe to you deal with yourself and then decide to stop it later on. But there is a point of going to someone and saying, this was wrong and this was not right, and this is the thing that would most save you from anything like this ever happening again, for you to know that you can stand up and that this isn't okay.
Well, and it gives him a record, or at least extends the one that he has, presumably. Right. Hey, Erica.
Yeah.
Now, what was the deal? Were you dating this guy, or was just your friend?
No, he's just a really good friend of mine, and we've been friends for a very long time.
And did he brandish a knife or something?
Yeah.
He did?
It was a kitchen, one of the serrated edge kitchen knives, and he just came out of the kitchen with it. I don't know, it was like a complete, it's like something just snapped.
All right, so this guy's a violent criminal. I mean, this is as good as it gets.
And Erica,
I mean,
how
really
are you not
is.
worried that this person could come back?
I am.
But you still don't want to report anything.
When I was in high school, my friend was raped, and it was a very violent rape, and they totally screwed her over.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you this
That
other
was
one.
10 years ago, too.
It was a different thing, and I had a friend that was terribly raped by 2 people for 2 days. The girl can never have children. All of the basis of the rape stuff that I know is based out of this woman. And she was in college, and she had been drinking. She had been doing drugs. She was wearing a miniskirt. She was walking back from a bar when she was underage. And she could identify the guys from their frat jackets 2 days later in a police station. They said they are going to annihilate you on a stand, and she didn't do anything. But 3 years later, when he raped somebody else, they did call her because the twisted things that the guy did to the new person, he had also done to her. She went, she testified, he was the son of a judge, didn't go very far, the guy got 6 months.
God.
3 more years later, he did it and killed someone.
Oh, my God.
So she went back and testified, and the guy got the death penalty.
Wow.
This thing is never going to go away, and this guy isn't going to stop. And if he found a doorknob that he knows how to unlock and terrify someone and rip their soul out of their heart, he will come back and do this, probably. It would seem like the most sensible thing. But him or anyone else, your heart is broken in there. You got to go fix your heart.
That's right.
Oh, it is. I don't want to put the burden on somebody who's been to hell and back already, but to me, in a way, isn't even. It's no different than you spotting a terrorist with a suitcase. I mean, this guy brandished a knife. He sodomized you. He horribly raped you. It is your duty to at least make the authorities aware of this guy for the other poor victim that this guy is gonna seize upon.
And the best thing about even her having to be a hero and do something about this is it will do wonders for her. You're going to carry this around with you in your heart for the rest of your life. The best thing you can do is try and fix it.
All right, this is Richard.
I'll tell you, and Diane Farr does not. She's led the kind of life where not only is she's led 3.5 lives, but she has a friend who's been through every single possible scenario. I got like a buddy, Vince, who got popped for urinating on his lawn once. That's as far as it goes. Diane Farr has a friend who's done everything, and if her friend hasn't done it, Diane did it, and I mean that in a loving way. But I mean, have you ever met someone more experienced than Diane Farr, who's traveled more, who's seen more?
And we've been working with her for 2 years, and at least once a working day with her, we look at each other and go, "Oh my God, I didn't know that."
She's been on all 13 continents.
I think she's been on the space shuttle.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't.
This is Richard. He's 33.
Hi, Dr. Drew. Hi, Adam. Hi, Diane Farr.
Hi.
First off, I want to congratulate Adam for scoring one on David Letterman for the little guy. Even though you might never be back on the show, at least you scored one for
Why wouldn't he be back on?
Somebody to...
Because he overshadowed Letterman?
What's that?
Why wouldn't he be back on?
Well, he didn't overshadow, but I would say he kind of took over the show for at least the first 5 minutes that he was on. But, Adam, you did score big time for all of us who wanted to tell everybody to kiss our asses.
Thank you, but I wasn't thinking of you, caller.
I know, but we kind of shared the victory.
All right.
And with this last caller, this is just another reason why the morning after pill should be readily available to anyone who needs it.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't, and this woman got pregnant, and she decided to keep the child, I mean, if just something happened where she couldn't get an abortion or whatever, she'd have to deal with this child and the fact that she had it every day of her life.
She and we, by the way,
Exactly.
as a society, because this would be a child with no father, hopefully no father, and the genes of a rapist running around out there.
Right, and I have to work extra hard at my job because millions on welfare depend on me.
Oh, you do listen to Adam a
You
lot.
work for the lottery?
What's that?
You work for the California Lottery?
No, not at all.
Oh, really? I can't think of another job where welfare recipients spend their money.
He means he actually has a few he supports, Adam, just like you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
I work very hard to support.
Okay, yes.
It's part
me
of your
too.
diatribe.
I like to think all my money's going to the military. It's just a fantasy I like to have when I cut the IRS a check.
You mean not to the garbage department?
No, please.
Surprised you didn't bring that up on Letterman.
Yeah,
All
really.
right, Drew.
anyhow, Drew, the other day you said something to the effect of no matter what it takes, you're going to try to do something to get the morning after pill readily available to someone who needs it.
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to get in touch with that company, and I'm working on things.
Do you remember in the 80s, Frank Zappa appeared in front of Congress to try to get the PMRC to not ban certain album sales to minors. Instead, they got the parental advisory sticker put on the front of albums.
Yeah.
Well, if you can present a case, even if you start locally, to get the morning after pill readily available.
I'm all for it. What would a gig like that pay? Because, well, you know what I mean? I don't make personal appearances unless there's a little coin.
I think Richard, it's going to take a little a sprinkling of civil disobedience to get it going.
Yes,
and I
what does that mean?
I mean, we're going to have to
It doesn't mean what it sounded
stretch
like.
the laws such as they are to distribute it, I think. But I'm looking into it.
Well, listen, you know, I was just watching tonight on HBO the Inside Sports thing. You know, gambling, sportsbook is illegal in 48 of the 50 states, but they still do all these offshore accounts, and they work their way around it. People get on the Internet. These guys have these sports books in Antigua.
That is precisely the kind of thing I want to try to figure out.
And I don't see why, hey, if we can bet on sports, why we couldn't get this spread out.
Yeah, it's exactly the kind of thing. I want to do it as legally as possible, but I'm sure it's going to be pressing the envelope a little bit. So that's my plan.
Well, yeah, but with the support of your local lawmakers and your local officials,
but
I'm sure with your celebrity status, you can get the ball rolling.
I think it's going to have to be done. I'll get the ball rolling, but I think it's going to have to be a state-by-state issue. And
I got our chant all worked out, Drew. We're here. Drew's queer. Get used to it.
This is Michael.
That may need a little more work.
32. Michael.
It's a good rough draft.
Hey.
Michael.
How are you tonight?
Good.
Good. Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
Diane.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good.
Good. And Adam. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. I've got a bit of a problem. I guess I'd say I'm engaged, but I'm not quite sure.
Michael.
Yes.
Were you shooting this afternoon?
Yes.
Michael is the co-star in the film I am doing called Little Indiscretions and plays my rock star fiance.
How are you?
Really?
Look, Drew, you didn't even notice I have an engagement ring on.
Wow, look at that.
She had an engagement ring on?
Says it's a huge diamond.
Actually, it's a really good friend of mine. It's real. Be careful.
I remember, was it who?
Still playing with it, Diane.
I'm told I was just playing with it. That's what made me remember.
That's right. Standing up high, right?
It's so, oh, God, and I went on a date on Saturday night and didn't even think about it. And I walked into the restaurant, like, with an engagement ring on. The guy didn't say anything. For like an hour, I was sitting there, like...
That's how foppish and doltish we are as men. It's like, hey, that doesn't mean anything.
And I was like, hey, did you see this? It's for this film. And he was like, oh, I just, was kind of hoping it was so people didn't ask you out or whatever.
Right. Well, see, we have to resort to thinking that.
How are you doing?
Good, good, good. You know, Diane is quite a kisser, I might have to say.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
So Michael kisses and tells on national radio.
You guys had a love scene in the movie?
On top of a bar.
Wait a minute. We're sitting at the bar and we're kissing with our clothes on.
Hey, when you, especially with those artsy type of films, when you kiss, you really got to kiss, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to use tongues?
It depends on the shot.
Yes, it does.
What'd you use?
Go ahead, Michael. You kiss and tell. You tell.
Michael, did she use her tongue on you?
Did she? Oh, God. Watch the film.
We're not telling.
Well, I might, depending on whether she used her tongue or not.
I'll give you another issue of Bikini if you come to the premiere, Adam.
Yeah, I can't wait to look at that one.
Oh,
when is the premiere?
I don't know yet. We don't wrap it till Wednesday.
We don't wrap yet. So.
Well, Michael, isn't Diane a fantastic actress?
Actually, you know what? I was just talking to some friends of mine tonight. Yeah, she is. She's incredibly natural. I loved working with her.
Thank you very much, Adam. You're making up for Letterman very well.
Well, I know, I mean it. You know, Drew and I just do what Drew and I do, but Diane really, she's multi-talented.
No,
I mean,
she has a talent, unlike us.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's
She
true,
has a talent. It's not necessarily multi, but in the face of zero talent, having a talent is There's a plethora of talent.
All right, this is way too nice. Let's not spoil me. Take another call. Michael, thank you for calling.
You're
I'm
very
telling
welcome.
everyone we made out today.
My pleasure.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Michael. Couldn't have got someone from the Drew Carey show to call in, Diane, for Christ's sake.
It's early.
Travis, 17.
Yeah.
Hey.
First, I'd like to say the show was really great last night, Drew. I loved it.
Thank you, Travis.
Nothing
Yeah.
against Adam. I like it too, but you know, you just need to cut down on sarcastic work sometimes. Actually, for the past 6 years, I've been having some problems with one of my friends. Just very, very, and sexually attracted to her, and just can't get to sleep at night, and I can't really say that I love her.
How old is she?
I just lust after her. Yes.
How old is she?
She is 16.
Does she have any idea you feel like this?
Huh? Yeah, she's known.
She knows you feel like this.
Huh?
She knows you feel like this.
Yeah.
Does she reciprocate your feelings?
No, she kind of just
Adam,
bother.
this is that relationship.
Yeah.
Wait, Travis. Hold on. Adam's going to tell you about this one. This is the one that most guys get to have at some point during their high school life.
And I'm taking the kid gloves off, too, because of Travis's first remark about me. Here's the deal. Well, first off, you knew this one was in the dumpster when he said she's known, meaning she didn't just find out yesterday.
Yeah.
She's been aware of this
Dealing
since
with
the
it,
8th
managing
grade
it, right.
and managing it. Travis, you know the thing that happens when you're young is you have enough fantasy for the two of you, maybe even a third. You know what I mean? You got so much that you can smear it on the person next to you and their sister and their mom if they're in the way. This is what a fool believes, Travis. Believe me, she ain't interested. If she was, you would have known by now, and something would have happened. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
That's okay. Everybody goes through
Most
this.
males go through this, and some of them stick with it for a few years, and some of it get over it after a few weeks.
Wait a minute. Isn't it quite fair to say most females have this at this age, too?
Because, she wants to
Stop, Travis. Stop. Don't do it to yourself. Stop.
First of all, if she's doing anything with you, she's just there to torture you. If you've put out that much feeling for a person and they're not really reciprocating it, anything else is just to have a slave. And
Yes.
don't be a victim to it.
Don't do it, Travis.
I blame Disney for really perpetuating this whole retarded myth. I really do. Every one of their stories is based around some guy, the village fool or some knave who's got the hots for some princess. What is their first encounter like every time, Drew?
She hates him.
She hates him.
And
she
in love.
can't stand him.
Yes.
But what happens by the end of the film?
She sees the true inner beauty and falls in love with him. And he's
Right.
and for everything except the Hunchback of Notre Dame ends that way. And I expected that one to end that way too. And sees through his outer skin and harshness and sees what a wonderful person he is and a lot of nonsense.
Here's the reality to women who hate you when you first meet them. They hate you a little more 6 months down the road. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And in a very rare occasion can you turn it around, but that's not at the high school level.
Right.
High school people are attracted to people or not attracted to people. All the work is done in the first or second meeting, and that's it. You move on.
And Adam asked
yes.
if girls do this too, and guys tend to do this. We run into young men that do this
Actually,
characteristic.
Diane asked if girls
What did I
do
say?
this too, Adam.
I'm out of it tonight. I'm screwing up everybody's names. But Diane asked if girls do this, and girls do certainly get crushes and stuff, but they're not as obsessive as guys. Guys seem to have one preoccupation like this they go through very often. And it's always the nice guys that do this too, right, Adam?
Right.
The nice guys, the ones that
they're
are prone
nice
to
to
this.
everyone but themselves.
Right.
And, women get it, but they're able to sort of shake it, move on, and get in touch with reality just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just have more opportunity at 16 and 17 than a real nebbish guy. I mean, a real nebbish guy could float through his whole high school without a date. A nebbish girl at least has the opportunity. Maybe somebody will ask her out.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, our overwhelming advice is to get over it, Travis.
Vince, 29.
Yeah, this is Vince.
Yeah, Vince, what's going on there, Vince?
I'm trying to end up killing myself, not through any physical means, but by wearing myself out, not sleeping or anything because I'm so depressed.
Drew's had been attempting suicide that way for the last 14 years. And drinking, though, Vince, right?
No, I'm not drinking any alcohol.
Really?
I'm staying awake and overwork myself because I can't get anywhere in life. I'm 29. I just turned 29 last December. Never been married, don't have any kids, single. No female wants anything to do with me.
Well, wait a minute. Let's not jump to conclusions
Well,
here.
it appears to be like it. They say I'm too weird.
Too weird for what?
I'm too weird.
Oh, just in general?
In what way? Did they give you a specific?
When I meet a girl, I tell her I don't care for alcohol, I don't do drugs or anything like that. My heart pours out to everybody, and I help everyone I can.
What do you do for a living?
Nothing.
Do you have
I thought you worked yourself to the bone.
Yeah. Well, I get a lot of stuff in, and I'm remodeling my house.
Well, you got a house. That ain't bad.
I pay rent. I'm trying to buy it, but
why don't you do anything for a living?
I draw 2 checks every month.
Maybe
disability?
Yeah.
From
what for?
Because of some 12 years of incarceration.
For what?
I was age 13 to 25.
For what?
When I was younger, I was extremely violent and hyper.
What were you incarcerated for? I'm asking for the third time.
I first got in trouble because I beat that person up, and I went to court and asked the court if they would place me in a church home, and it ended up being a group home. And from the group home, SRS took over and placed me in the youth centers.
You didn't have another
Right, so you beat a guy up when you were 13, and that's your only offense.
Yeah, I went to court. I could have gotten probation, but I asked the courts to place me in a Christian group home or a Christian school because I was real heavily in church.
Okay, but Vince,
what did you do to get from the home to the youth center?
I wanted to get from home to the youth. I was in a group home.
And what did you do?
In our town, and SRS, since I was a minor, SRS wanted to have me screened, evaluated at one youth center.
Hey, let me just ask a little more directly. Wow. Did you kill anybody?
No. I had a choice of probation, but I talked to the district attorney about going to a Christian school, which didn't even.
Okay. All right. So Vince, let me stay alone with Vince here for about 30 seconds. Vince, are you unable to work because of a mental condition?
No, not really. Every time I get a job, I got friends that tell me, "Don't lose your Social Security."
Right, but I don't understand why you get Social Security just because you were incarcerated.
I was in mental institution for 9 years.
There we go.
Beaten severely.
You were beaten severely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a very difficult life. But Vince, don't listen to your buddies, mainly because they're your buddies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I believe that he says he's hardworking. Well, again, I think Vince has problems that may be bigger than Loveline. Wouldn't you guys say?
Oh, yeah.
But if you say you're as hardworking as you are, you don't have a job. It's a little bit confusing. But don't you agree that when you give somebody a handout this way, it makes someone who's bad worse?
Oh, yeah.
And it sort of cuts you off at the knees. And especially for a man. And Diane, I know you don't like us separating the genders, but I'm going to do this for a second. You know, there's certain things that come with the territory. And as a male, so much of your personality or so much of your ego is wrapped up around your livelihood.
A sense of yourself.
It is so important for you as a male to feel like you're bringing home the bacon and, the breadwinner and all those other bad cliches that involve products that you eat. We got to move on to like toaster ovens and VCRs. But the point is when you take a guy who's 29 from a small town and you have him sitting waiting by the mailbox twice a month, it just cuts him off at the knees. It like cuts the scrotum right off. Yeah. I think Vince needs to not listen to his moronic friends who, by the way, if you told them you'd pay them, $622 a month, they would quit their job in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because they're pathetic.
Yeah.
And they look at this as a meal ticket or a free ride, but the reality is the joke is on you.
Yeah.
The joke is absolutely on you. Vince, you're a hard-working guy. Get a job and work hard. Take your meds and stay out of trouble and keep away from sharp objects. All right.
All right, we got to go to break.
Thanks, Drew.
Tell people what it is. What is the show? What is the precept of the program?
I sit there and yell at people to kiss my ass 5 nights a week.
All right. Okay. The phone number for Loveline is 1-800-LOVE-191.
Hi, this is Jamie Kennedy, and you're listening to Loveline with Ace Rockola and Dr. Drew.
Yes, you is. I tell you, I miss that Synsonic drum. I really do, Drew. Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting the show. Diane Farr.
We knew we were starting the show. Just I've learned to drown out your voice. Just to not even pay attention to it anymore. When you're not here in my face yelling at me, trying to get my eye contact, because you get so offended when we're not listening to every word you say. Go ahead, Adam.
Go ahead. Go back to the Diane Farr bit. Don't fight with her.
Yes, Diane Farr's our guest tonight. Diane Farr's on the fabulous MTV version of this show, and you can also find her, well, you can find her in this month's Bikini magazine, in a bikini, coincidentally enough. And on the Drew, upstairs and downstairs. And the Drew Carey Show. That would be Wednesday nights on ABC. Now, she's coming up on the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th. 3 consecutive nights, or I should say weeks, of Diane Farr, who's, as we've established, a fine actress. And, Drew, by the way, when I was at the Letterman show, they didn't bring you up at all. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Ready to move on?
I appreciate you bringing me up for 1 or 2 sentences on the air, though. That was nice.
I appreciated it particularly, too.
Oh, yeah.
This now is Adria. She's 23.
Hi, I have a question about the success rate for vasectomy reversals.
It depends what kind of vasectomy, and it depends what kind of reversal they attempt. But I don't know the data right off the top of my head. I know it's never 100%.
Why do you want to know?
My fiance's had one. He said that they went in, they clipped it, and they sewed up the tube inside of him. So he said he's still producing sperm.
Yeah.
Is that true? I mean, could he still be? It's just not coming out of him.
Yeah, they always continue to produce sperm, but the question is, has the plumbing been rehooked up? Can it get where it needs to go?
Mm-hmm. Is there any way to find out if his sperm count is even high enough to?
Yeah, you can get a sperm count.
You can't even with the vasectomy reversal?
It'll register 0, but you can go ahead and tally them up.
Yeah, I don't understand what you're asking. A sperm count is a sperm count, right?
Well, I just want to know if you can find what it is before having the reversal.
So she's asking, can they test what's inside,
of course.
How it comes out?
No, she's asking, I think she's asking, can she get a sperm count so that she can then go ahead and go for the reversal?
Is that the question?
Exactly.
All right, the sperm count should be about 0.
Yeah, his doctor said that it depends. It'll be successful depending on what his sperm count is.
Oh, I see.
There's no way to find out before the reversal is what I want to know.
Not that I'm not a urologist, so I'm not quite sure even what they're asking you.
Well, they're saying maybe you get a reversal, but he has a bad sperm count, therefore you get the reversal and he still can't produce. But that's a retarded notion, isn't it?
I would think.
Whatever his chances are, whatever anyone's chances are, right?
That's what I would think.
Because a vasectomy isn't going to affect the count.
It sounds like they're telling her it would. I wasn't aware that it would, so we have to look that up. Roxy, 22.
Well, why? Do you shut down or something?
You do shut down a little bit, but I didn't think it was permanent. Roxy.
Hi.
Hey.
First of all...
Hey, let me ask one more thing to Drew. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is there any way that they can extract the sperm from him, seeing as how he's still producing it, and then they wouldn't need to do the reversal? They could implant it in her.
Ooh, there is such a thing, but I don't know all the different nuances of how that's done and what the complications and sort of variables are in determining whether that can be successful. The sperm is kind of processed as it goes through the tubes and things. So I don't know what probability they have of success from that kind of harvesting, and I don't know if you can harvest it in somebody that's had a vasectomy long in the past.
All right.
So, Roxy.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say, Dr. Drew, I really, really enjoyed the show last night.
Oh, good.
I found it to be really, really interesting, and for that girl that said something about how she thought that you used to have no personality. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I really, really admire you, and I learn a lot
Thank
from
you,
you.
Roxy.
And I find you to be very interesting.
Having brought
was
that, what?
that was last night.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, that is my
and
sister.
I love you too, Adam. It was just really great to. I mean, gosh, it just seemed like there were so many calls that were taken, and it just was great. And I just want to tell you that, Dr. Drew, I really admire
Well,
you.
thank you, Roxy.
You're welcome. My question is, well, I have a couple of questions, actually. I'm a heroin addict. I've got 3 months of sobriety right now.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Take it. Consider the source, everybody.
Are you on methadone?
No, I'm not on methadone.
All
Thank
right.
God. And I'm in AA and NA, and I absolutely love it. And it's not at all like Christian, which what that lady was saying. It's just very important to get a higher power.
Yeah.
You know. I have a couple of questions. The
She's a mean lady. I don't like her either.
At least you still call me a lady.
I smoked heroin, and I was wondering if it's possible to overdose by smoking heroin.
I suppose it is. I've never seen anyone do that. The addictive disease that I see from inhaled heroin is just as bad as from shooting it.
Mm-hmm.
The medical complications obviously aren't as bad, and people are able to sort of maintain smoking heroin a lot longer than they can when they start shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But overdosing, I've not seen it. I think that's why people usually graduate to intravenous, is that they can't get high enough dosing going with smoked heroin. You can get huge doses by inhaling cocaine, crack, but you can't. It's very hard to get very high circulating levels of heroin through smoking it.
Oh, okay.
How long does the high last when you smoke it?
Well, I've never shot it, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but it lasts for about... Well,
Yeah, you do. Just tell me how long it lasts.
Yeah, you get an initial rush, but then the high will last you a couple hours. And you have to do a little more and a little more. I think you use a lot more. I had friends that slammed, and I seem to go through a lot more.
Yes, it's less efficient.
Yeah. And I also you guys talk a lot about addiction coming from families and, things like that. And I was wondering
about 85% of the time.
Mm-hmm. But I was wondering about me because I grew up and I have wonderful parents. Neither of them are addicts. Both my parents never drank or anything. And
how about their parents?
My grandfather was an alcoholic.
Okay, it only has to be within 1-2 degrees. And so, whose father was that?
It was my dad's dad.
Okay, so we would speculate then that your dad had the gene.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw how horrific that was in his father, so he determined never to have a relationship with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And so the disease skips his generation and then appears in yours.
Okay, because my parents were both really good, and I'm just wondering. So you think maybe it was from my grandfather then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be fair to say also that it's not being determined by good or bad? It's just a genetic thing.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
just
that
this
your parents
thing.
did anything wrong.
Yeah, right.
It helps if they're crappy, though, I think.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Well,
you're more apt to want to disappoint them when they disappointed you.
and this is a big reason why I wanted to quit, is because I hated what I was doing to my family.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we talk to people all night long whose parents are born again, so they're Wiccan, whose parents are gay bashers, so they go homo, and then, but this is sort of the converse, which is you felt badly about what it was doing to your family. They did a good job on you. They loved you, and you didn't want to disappoint them anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a God, Drew.
All right, Roxy, good luck.
Thank you very
Stay
much.
with it.
Bye-bye.
So let me get the tally here. We got one heroin addict fan of Drew doing shows.
By the way, Roxy brought up the fact that one of my callers last night mentioned that my personality she thought was just like a limp rag. But she was, but maybe she was wrong. Was sort of you missed that part of the call.
Please.
All right, this is Nicole, 26. Nicole?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering if it was normal not to have an orgasm during sexual intercourse if I could any other way.
All right. Nicole, hang on one second. Anna, we got to go to break here.
All right.
All right. I know you're not...
I'm guessing that Diane will shine a little light on this topic when we come back.
Between Diane and Ann, who knows?
Yeah. Start warming up the tub, ladies. All right.
Get it going.
We will take ourselves a little break. We'll come back and delve into Nicole's vagina after this. First, Mr. Gregory. He taught my 10th grade driver's ed class.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I attended every day. I took every test, every quiz, and you failed me, Mr. Gregory. Now I'm on Letterman, and you can kiss my ass.
Roger, you got yourself a Loveline with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is the Mango from the Saturday Night Live, and you did listen to the Loveline with the Adam Carolla sauce and the Drew man with the ass. No, you can't have me. No mango for you.
I love the mango. All right, hey, it's the Loveline. Diane Farr is our guest tonight. They are back in L.A. This is Adam Carolla. I'm over in New York, and Dr. Drew is holding Diane's hand back in L.A. Now, Diane Farr is from the fabulous MTV version of Loveline, and you can find her coming up on the Drew Carey Show 3 weeks running, starting on the 10th. That would be a Wednesday on ABC. Also, it's got a couple of movies coming out, and you can find her in February's issue of Bikini Magazine. So, do we cover it?
Thank you.
Is Drew getting into the popcorn over there? What's going on?
We just started it, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me chewing?
Yeah. Listen, honey, Drew's been on the air for 15 years. I'll let him eat a little popcorn into the mic. You haven't earned your corn yet. All right, now where the hell were we?
We're talking to Nicole, 26.
Yeah.
And she was wondering if a woman is orgasmic in ways other than genital intercourse, shouldn't she be able to have an orgasm during intercourse?
Or is it the other way around? You're asking, is it normal for a woman not to be able to just because she can from something else?
I think it was Drew's version. Is he right, Nicole?
Yeah, I can any way other than intercourse.
Right, okay. So then, Diane?
You should be able to have an orgasm at any time, anywhere, and that would be a lovely thing. But you're not alone in that you can't.
Not at all. Yeah, listen, many women suffer from this. You know, if you want to call it suffering, but
you can call it suffering.
Many women, Lord knows, I've seen it up close, firsthand. Everybody, hand being the operative word there. That a lot of women do not have an orgasm via intercourse because there's no direct clitoral stimulation, or as my grandmother would say, clitoral stimulation.
But wait, wouldn't it be fair to say that this is something that she can continue to work on?
I think so, and it seems to me that you just kind of, if you turn it into a sort of mechanical act and you do the math, you just get into a position, which is you on top, where you can get the clitoral stimulation in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work. My fiance kind of went on a mission for a little while, and I just said, not to really worry about it, because one way or another the job gets done, so I wasn't too concerned.
That's it. That's actually a really good attitude, I think. As long as both parties are interested in the job being done and it's getting done, I think that's good. But with or without your fiance, whether you're doing it on your own or doing it with him, trying to get to a point of orgasm, you should be able to mimic what you're doing at some point and bring it into intercourse.
Again, this is more evidence for the difference between men and women. If a man did not get his orgasm precisely what he was looking for, imagine what chaos would ensue. Adam?
You mean if he wasn't having one with a woman?
Yeah, just the way he wanted to.
Oh well, no, Drew, you're being a little unfair. But she's having her orgasm. It's just not in the position that she wants it in, and she'll find it. And also, women, the vagina is like some sort of 100-year-old cactus that lives out in the desert. It goes through many stages. It really does.
Oh my God! I can't believe you just made that analogy. Oh my God.
A woman can experience things at 32 that she couldn't at 26 and couldn't at 16.
Animals start living in it.
Right. There'll be a desert fox will have a burrow there. It'll raise its kid. Perhaps a trapdoor spider will find its home there. The point is just because it ain't happening at 26 does not mean it's not going to happen, especially if this fiance of yours keeps going on these recon missions. By 2 years down the road or 6 months down the road. So don't worry about it. Right. All right.
Okay, let's go. This is one for Adam. Brian, 29.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, I want to start off by saying, Drew, I saw your pilot for your show, and it was absolutely awesome.
Oh, God bless you. How did you see? I haven't even seen it.
You know, I actually work at the studio, and I know someone in the editorial room, and I just happened to... You did a hell of a job.
Oh, thank you.
And
Wow. It's fabulous.
I'll try
if
to
it's
dance up on
anything
it.
like your radio, if it's going to be anything like your radio show, you're going to be in for a very happy...
Well, Brian, thank you. I hope it sells somewhere so we can actually get a crack at it.
So, Brian, you were just waiting there by the dumpster when they emptied the trash, and you were able to salvage it?
I was walking down the hall, and I heard a voice that sounded familiar. I peeked my head in the room, and I actually got to see it. And Adam, also, I lived by you in North Hollywood, man.
Oh, well, fantastic.
He doesn't live there anymore.
No.
I've actually done a little bit better for myself and got out of the slums. But
Oh, you have? Good, yeah.
Anyway, this is my my problem, if you will. I was going to visit my girlfriend who was babysitting. She gave me a call. She said the kids were asleep, so I came over. I knocked on the door. I heard no answer, so I opened the door, and I saw her engaging in oral copulation with a dog in the back.
Really?
Wait a minute.
Brian, really?
Wait a minute.
Make sure you're talking truthfully to us before we get into this.
I'm absolutely truthful.
She was babysitting two other kids, and she left the front door open?
Exactly. See, let me give you a rundown of my concerns. First of all, I'm a single father. I have a 5-year-old son. If I knew my babysitter was doing this, I'd absolutely rip her head off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No tip.
I did not confront her on it. I just shut the door. I called her the next day. I said, listen, I couldn't make it over. I apologize. And
So she doesn't know that you saw this thing?
She does not know.
Oh, my God.
How is it that A, she leaves the front door unlocked while she's babysitting, and B, you open it, see what she's doing, and she doesn't see you, and then you're able to close the door and steal away? How does that work?
The way the house is set up is you open the door, there's a living room. Right behind the living room, there's a kitchen. Behind the kitchen, there's like a family room. So there's 2 rooms that separated us.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened up, I kind of stuck my head in through. I got a clear shot of what was going on. I quietly shut the door and just bailed. My first instinct was to actually call the parents of the children and tell them what I saw. Being a father, that was my main
Adam, this is for real. You can tell by all the detail and the way he felt about it and the things he's thought out about it.
Right, okay.
This is for real. Now, what? Tell us more about your girlfriend. I mean, what's up with her?
It's really, really weird. She's 27 years old. She's got a good job. She's very
a
intelligent.
babysitter, and she's 27?
I'm sorry?
She's...
It was a sister's kid that she was babysitting for. It was more of a favor, not more of a, not an income thing.
Could you imagine, by the way, if Brian called up the parents and ratted her out, and then the parents arrived at the house and said, listen, we know what was going on. She'd look at the dog and think the dog talked. You bastard. All the dreams, the plans we had, ruined. Oh, my God. All right, so...
If this girl could seriously do this to a dog, would she have victim stamped on her forehead?
Oh, yeah.
No, well, hold on a second now. Now, everyone just listen and try not to be judgmental for just a second.
Oh, God, you're not really going to go here.
I am saying, if she's wearing a skirt, she's wearing a skirt, right, Brian?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, and let's say she's watching, like, that VIP show.
Okay. Oh, God.
And the juices are flowing a little bit. She's become a little bit aroused, all right? Then the dog, maybe she had a glass of red wine while she was relaxing after putting the kids down. Now, she's watching the show, and the dog walks up, and the dog starts sniffing around, and the dog starts licking, because the dogs will do that. I mean, you walk in a pair of shorts, and a dog will start licking your knee, right?
She was doing
She was doing it to the dog.
Okay, hear me out. Holy Christ. I thought the dog was performing on her.
She was performing on the dog.
Okay, let's just say she was running. And she just mopped the floor. Oh, for Christ's sake. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough sell. That really is.
See, like I said, my main concern is the children. I'm a single father, and I would just be...
Wait a minute. That's her nieces and nephews by the story.
Right. It's her sister's kids.
All right, so
you
now
didn't have a shot in hell telling this to the
I'm
sister.
sorry?
Oh, Brian.
You don't? Oh, boy. Well,
I mean, there's something up with your girlfriend, obviously.
Brian,
what are the psychological reasons in doing something like that?
I don't know that there are specific patterns that we can call upon, except that she's deviant. She has poor judgment. She has poor boundaries. And we would expect, our expectation would be that something really substantially traumatic happened to her growing up.
And how does she do it, by the way? Does she have to get down on the floor like a mechanic going under a car?
What kind of dog?
Actually, the dog was laying on the couch, and she was sitting on the floor.
If you tell me that, was the dog drinking a beer?
No, the dog.
No.
Drew almost choked to death on his popcorn.
Are you sure that's what she was doing?
You know what? I was absolutely positive, and I was kind of wishing it wasn't what I'd seen, but unfortunately it was.
Oh, man.
Oh, baby. Maybe the dog got bit by a snake or something, and she was removing the venom.
I mean,
I don't know. It just sounds bizarre. It sounds beyond bizarre.
If this would have happened in any other place other than a home with children, I would have confronted her on it, and it would have been somewhat of an issue that I could get over.
Yeah.
But being that the kids were in the house and she knows my view on kids and abuse, and it just devastated me.
I think, you know.
Wait, but what is your actual question?
I would certainly keep her away from my kids. That's for sure.
I got a 2-point.
But not away from your dog, Drew. Keep the dog busy.
My 2-part question is should I say something to the kid's parents, which is her sister, and Drew already answered the first part, would be the psychological behavior or the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and I think you've got to. I think you should tell her you saw what went on and that you think she needs help, and that you're contemplating telling the sister if she doesn't do something.
Because in reality, there is no chance that the sister is.
Sister's not going to believe you.
She's not going to believe you at all.
Yeah, but let me float this one, guys. It's not a theory. I just broke wind. The sister knows that this girl has had some problems, has some problems, and may be aware of other run-ins of this nature. Not necessarily with the dog, but this may not surprise her. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I mean, we all have siblings, and we'd know what was beyond them or not. And she may very well have suspected something or have some feelings on it herself.
Would she let her be babysitting her kids then? If
but they all both came from the same family.
Well, they all come from that family, though.
Right.
I think what kind of mama she is. I mean, she came from the family that produced this oral deviant.
So would you suggest that I confront the family or her first?
Brian, here's what you talk to her. And here's the way you do it. Don't get into an argument with her, because then it's going to be, no, I didn't, yes, you did. Just say, listen, I know what you did, and I know there's a reason why you did it, and you must have, suffered something horrible, and let's just talk about it. I just want to know.
I would go further and say, hey, you've got to do something about it, or I have to do something about it.
Right,
and
but see if you can't coax it out of her in a loving way first before you just get into this sort of battle of wills. And also, geez, you got to ask yourself, what's up with you, Brian? I mean, you hooked up with this chick and had no clue.
Right.
Same guy likes Drew's pilot, by the way, everybody. So what do we have? We have the heroin addict and the guy who aligns himself with the oral queen.
My
tally here.
My constituency, what are you talking about?
Okay. We're going to take ourselves a little break, and we'll be back to wrap up and wrap down.
Loveline on 92.1 KFMA.
All righty. Well, that's it for the fabulous Loveline. Thank you, Diane Farr. God damn it.
Adam.
I can't get the...
Thank you, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, I got a serious thing going here with the headphones and the mic. I'm just going to put the thing down.
I know you're a big star now, and
disaster.
you're coming back here for a couple of days and then leaving again. And it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I know your commitments are.
Well, it's not like I want to go. They need me at the Super Bowl.
Right.
You victim, you.
All right. Look for Diane on the Drew Carey Show coming up for the next couple of months. Thanks, Diane.
Thanks, babe.
We'll see you soon. And, Drew, we'll see you tomorrow night. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying mahalo.